Late one night, I was working at a gas station in a remote town. It was a job I'd held for years, but that night something eerie happened. A guy that I had seen before started acting strangely. He looked like a druggie, always tired and paranoid, but he usually came in and left without a fuss. This time he was different. He paced around the store. I could sense dark energy around him. When I offered help, he shot me a chilling look and hurried out. The next few nights, he didn't show up, but when he returned, his demeanor changed drastically. He came in at 2 a.m., moving slowly with a blank expression on his face. His tired eyes gave me a bad feeling. He took his time picking up some food, unlike his usual hurried manner. When he approached the counter, he spoke for the first time, quietly saying, "Thank you." But before I could react, 4 mysterious men appeared out of nowhere, grabbed him and threw him into a van. They vanished without a trace, leaving his truck behind. The police couldn't find any leads, and the guy seemed to have vanished from existence. Days turned into weeks, and the gas station became a haunted place in my mind. I couldn't shake the feeling of darkness lingering in the air. Who were those men? What did they want from him? No answers came, and fear consumed me. As time passed, the gas station became eerie. Strange noises echoed through the night, and I felt like I was being watched. Customers reported odd occurrences like items moving by themselves or lights flickering without reason. The once welcoming place had turned into a chilling nightmare. One night as I was closing up, I saw a shadowy figure lingering outside the store. Fear gripped me, but I forced myself to confront it. As I approached, I could see it was the same guy who had disappeared weeks ago. He looked gaunt and exhausted, like he had endured unspeakable horrors. He whispered urgently, "They're coming for me. You need to help me." Before I could respond, the 4 men emerged from the darkness surrounding us. They were tall and wore dark hoods that concealed their faces. My heart pounded in my chest as they closed in, their eyes glowing with malice. They spoke in hushed, sinister tones, threatening to take us both away. In a desperate attempt to escape, I grabbed the guy's hand and pulled him towards the back of the gas station. We dashed through the storage area, knocking over boxes in our haste. The men pursued us, their footsteps like a chilling symphony of doom. We reached the back door, but it was locked. Panic overwhelmed us as we realized there was no way out. The men were getting closer, their dark presence suffocating us. In a last-ditch effort, we kicked the door until it finally burst open, and we stumbled into the night. We ran through empty streets, not daring to look back. The town that was once familiar now felt like a maze of terror. We found shelter in an abandoned building, hidden from those who sought to harm us. As we caught our breath, the guy finally spoke. He revealed that he had stumbled upon something he shouldn't have, something that had drawn the attention of those malevolent men. He was now marked, forever hunted by the shadows that lurked in the darkness. From that night on, we lived in fear, always looking over our shoulders. The gas station became a distant memory, and the once quiet town turned into a haunting nightmare. Our lives were forever changed, and we could never escape the horrors that lurked in the shadows. Two years ago, in a small, isolated town, I was working the night shift at a lonely gas station. The darkness outside seemed to swallow everything, and I was all alone. The silence was eerie, broken only by the occasional sound of a passing car. The night was dragging on, and I was just finishing my task when I heard the front door creak open. I peered over the aisles, but no one was there. The door slowly opened, and I assumed it was a draft. But then, a few minutes later, the door opened again. I was sure I heard footsteps, but when I checked, the parking lot was empty, and there was no sign of anyone. My heart began to race as I realized something strange was happening. Nervously, I continued my work, but then I heard a soft thump at the back door. It was as if someone was trying to get in. I froze and listened, but there was only silence. My mind was filled with fear and curiosity, so I decided to check the security footage. To my horror, there was a figure outside the back door. The person had their hand on the handle but wasn't moving. I kept my eyes fixed on the figure as I rewound the footage from the front door. And there it was again, the same figure walking up to the gas station, pushing open the door and dashing to the back of the building. This person had been inside before, but I hadn't seen them. It sent chills down my spine. Feeling my heart pounding, I called 911 to report the intruder. As I was on the phone, I heard another thump, this time from the front. I looked at the cameras and saw the figure running around the building, getting closer to the front door. Panic consumed me and I grabbed the pistol from under the counter. The figure barged through the front doors, and the force was so strong that the glass shook violently. They charged toward me with a look of madness in their eyes, but just as quickly they turned and sprinted back to the back room. I could hear them kicking the door repeatedly. Trembling, I continued giving information to the police, and soon enough they arrived. 3 officers cautiously entered the back room through the damaged door. I watched from the safety of the counter, praying for their safety. They found the figure in the corner, whispering to themselves, completely lost in their own world. They were clutching a kitchen knife tightly. The officers tried to reason with them, but it was as if the figure couldn't hear or see them. Suddenly, without warning, the figure lunged at the officers, attempting to stab them with the knife. The officers managed to subdue the figure, and I let out a breath that I hadn't realized I was holding. As they handcuffed the person, I couldn't help but wonder who they were and why they had targeted our gas station. After the incident, the police questioned the figure, but they remained silent, offering no explanation for their actions. They were taken away, leaving us all in shock and confused. The night felt even darker after that, and I couldn't shake off the feeling that something more sinister was lurking in the shadows. To this day, I can't forget the haunting image of that figure standing outside the back door, watching, waiting, and leaving us with unanswered questions. In the forgotten town of Ravenwood, where darkness crept along the edges, my father owned a gas station. For over 6 years I had helped him run it, but the job that always unsettled me was working at the register. The town had a history of strange occurrences, and every night shift sent shivers down my spine. One rainy night, I was alone at the gas station, the downpour masking any noise outside. The stormy weather kept most customers away, leaving me feeling isolated and vulnerable. As the clock struck 1 a.m., a beat-up gray SUV pulled in, and a man stepped out. His dark hoodie concealed his face, and he seemed on edge. He started filling gas cans, one after the other, an unsettling number of them. I felt an ominous presence as he stared at the cans like they held some dark purpose. Suddenly he walked into the shop, and my heart raced. I tried to remain calm as he tossed a box of matches on the counter, his eyes locked into mine with an eerie intensity. "Come on, I gotta get going," he barked. I hesitated, fearing the worst. "I'm not sure if I'm comfortable selling these to you," I managed to say, trying to ignore the feeling of dread. He chuckled sinisterly. "What do you think, I'm gonna burn a house down or something?" The cold smile on his face sent chills down my spine. He left, but I couldn't shake the fear that had taken root in me. I called the police, warning them about the man's odd behavior, hoping they'd find him before anything sinister occurred. As the night wore on, the minutes felt like hours and my anxiety grew. The cop car arrived, and the officers questioned me thoroughly about the man. Fear gnawed at me as I recounted the unsettling details. Little did I know that this man had sinister intentions. A week passed, and the unsettling feeling lingered. I called the station, desperate for answers. The officer informed me that they had caught the man in the act, pouring gasoline onto a house with people inside. He had intended to set it ablaze, but the police intervened just in time. The news left me horrified, realizing how close I had been to a tragedy. The thought of what could have happened sent shivers down my spine. Ravenwood's darkness had almost swallowed us whole, and I couldn't help but feel haunted by the night's events. From that night on, the gas station became a place of unease, a reminder of the darkness that lurked in the shadows. The town's eerie history weighed heavily on my mind, leaving me haunted by the darkness that nearly engulfed us.